Korea's local elections and parliamentary by-elections have delivered a mixed but politically significant result. The ruling Democratic Party expanded its influence across much of the country, while the conservative opposition managed to hold on to some key battlegrounds. For a closer look at what the results mean for Korean politics, our correspondent Moon Hae-ryun joins us in the studio. Welcome back, Hae-ryun.
Thanks for having me, Tammy.
Hae-ryun, let's begin with the local elections. What stands out most from the results? So let's start with that.
So the headline is that the DP has managed to consolidate its political dominance. The party won 12 of 16 gubernatorial and mayoral races, giving it control of most regional governments and extending its influence beyond the presidency and the National Assembly. But the story is more nuanced than a simple landslide. The most closely watched contest was the Seoul mayoral race, where conservative incumbent Oh Se-hun narrowly held on despite a strong challenge from the DP.
Voters have reaffirmed the principle of checks and balances, safeguarding Seoul's democracy.
I humbly accept the voters' verdict. I fell short, and I take full responsibility.
That result denied the ruling party a complete sweep of the capital region and gives conservatives an important political foothold heading into the second year of President Lee Jae-myung's term. Elsewhere, however, the DP performed strongly. It retained Gyeonggi-do province and Incheon while also capturing Busan, a city that has traditionally been regarded as conservative territory. Even in Daegu, one of the country's most reliably conservative regions, the race was far more competitive than many had expected. Many analysts see the results as a sign that voters remain broadly supportive of President Lee's administration 1 year after he took office.
And furthermore, I think it shows that a major proportion of the citizenry is actually in support of President Lee's administration and has strong faith in his good performance throughout the remaining years of his presidency.
And Hae-ryun, at the same time, voters elected new lawmakers in a series of parliamentary by-elections. What stood out from those elections?
So several of these contests actually carried a significance far beyond the constituencies themselves. And the biggest spotlight was on Busan's Book A district, where former PPP leader Han Dong-un won as an independent candidate after breaking with his party. His victory keeps him at the center of national politics and could make him a major player in any future reorganization of the conservative camp. Another closely watched race was Incheon's Gyeonggi district, formerly represented by President Lee before he moved to the Blue House. The DP comfortably held the seat, reinforcing its strength in what has long been considered one of its strongholds. But perhaps the most dramatic result came in Pyeongtaek-B, where veteran conservative lawmaker Yoo Lee-dong defeated 4 other candidates, including not only the DP candidate but also Cho-guk, leader of the smaller progressive Rebuilding Korea Party. Cho's defeat is particularly significant because it weakens his party at a time when merger discussions with the DP have been widely discussed. Overall, the ruling party won 9 of the 14 parliamentary seats at stake, preserving its overwhelming advantage in the National Assembly.
Indeed. Hae-ryun, let us wrap up with this ultimate question. What impact could these results have on Korean politics going forward?
So the immediate fallout is most likely to be felt very strongly inside the conservative opposition. Right. And although the PPP managed to defend Seoul and gain several parliamentary seats, its poor performance nationwide is expected to trigger renewed debate over the party's direction and leadership. Han Dong-un's return to parliament could further intensify those discussions, particularly among conservatives who argue the party needs to appeal more effectively to moderate and metropolitan voters. On the ruling side, attention is turning to the future of the Rebuilding Korea Party, with Cho-guk saying that he will step down from his post as its leader. His defeat may complicate merger talks with the DP, at least in the short term, although pressure for broader progressive unity could re-emerge before the next general election in 2028. In the National Assembly, however, the overall balance of power remains largely unchanged. Together with allied parties, the DP still controls more than 180 seats, enough to fast-track legislation and overcome filibusters. At the same time, the opposition retains enough seats to block constitutional amendments, ensuring that confrontation between the two sides is likely to continue. So while these elections strengthened the ruling party, they also set the stage for an intense battle over the future direction of both the government and the conservative opposition.
Well, a lot to keep track of in the days ahead. Hae-ryun, thank you for the coverage.
Thank you for having me.